point. So you want to be, careful not to overdo that. And then, alcohol, right? That can start leading to alcoholism at some point if you're not careful with it.
Yeah.
Right. So, you got to be very careful. And even with food, right? Because that's how a lot of people end up getting overweight. They just, they treat themselves with food, and it's not the healthy food. And then that becomes addicting. And then over time, you just overeat and you end up getting to a point where you're really unhealthy. So balance. With everything, you're going to have to find a balance, because I can't tell you that it's right doing it one way or it's right doing it the other way. It's whatever works for you and doesn't become a detriment long term.
This is a conversation between friends.
None of what is said here should be taken as legal advice.
We are not experts in any way.
Take what resonates and leave the rest.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Shots of Info once again. This is Mike. The topics for the day on foundations, we have treating yourself. We're gonna see what that means. Fitness, how to be a good personal trainer, and on finance, different credit card companies. So yesterday we talked about credit cards, specific credit cards that we think are very beneficial for you or may be the best fit for you. But today we want to talk a little bit more into the credit card companies behind these credit cards. All right, not the banks, the credit cards. Hey, stick around to find out a little bit more. Well, let's just get started. Treating yourself. What do you mean?
Right. So, ironically enough, I was listening to the radio. I was heading to work, and on the radio, one of the hosts was talking about, or they were talking about treating themselves or treating yourself. And the way this person went about it was to go to McDonald's and order some type of food. Or I forget what it specifically was, but I'm pretty sure a big thing was the fries, and then maybe like a Big Mac or something. And for some reason that kind of resonated with me. Like, the host kept talking about, you have to treat yourself, and you have to, because nobody else will, or something to that effect. And to me, that got me thinking, like, okay, so if that's how that person treats, like, how they wouldn't necessarily pleasure themselves, because, that's another thing. But it could be like pleasuring yourself, not necessarily in the sexual way. Right. How would you go about doing that for yourself? Like, what does that look like for you as an individual, or for me, right? And I mean, for me, I'm still playing around with the idea, because I don't know how I particularly treat myself. I guess sometimes, after like a long bouts of just working consistently and being really disciplined with the work that I do, if I want to kick back and relax, the thing that I usually do is like play video games, or maybe like go eat some food that's not particularly healthy and play video games. But that's the way I do it. What about you? What kind of?
So you would say that treating yourself will be like your hobbies and something that you love to do, or would it be more
like it's the idea is supposed to be a reward after long bouts of doing work that you don't like doing. Which we've talked about in the past, how you should try to set your life up so that you're doing things that you enjoy, but that's not always going to be the case. So in those situations where you spend a long period of time of doing things that you don't like doing, how exactly do you go about, like, treating yourself, or, try to balancing out the scales so that you're not just doing a lot of stuff that you don't like and none of the stuff that you do like?
Absolutely. Okay. I see your point. I see where you're going with it. And I think the best way for me to explain the way that I treat myself, or at least I think I treat myself, is whenever I go out with friends or family, I usually don't really care about how much I spend. Like, this is not all the time. This is probably once a month. You might be thinking like, oh, he spends a lot.
He's just a baller, bro. He's just started trading and started making money, and now he's just like killing it.
So it's like once a month, probably. Me and my sister usually go out and eat a lot, and we pick like a nice spot. Yeah. Now, usually this actually, it all comes down to like birthdays, because like in my family, like an old tradition is that like the birthday person picks a place, and it can be like, as fancy as it can be. It can be the cheapest place. It can be like anywhere, as long as the birthday person wants to eat at that place. And we all gather together, we go eat, and we pay the bill. So here we don't really look at the prices because, it's treating ourselves. It's something like really nice. It's family time. I think that's one that it just came to my head like right away when you mentioned treating yourself.
Mhm.
Now another thing too is for me traveling. Like honestly, like I will go to it. My goal is to go to one country every year. So hopefully this year I will be on Mexico. With my sunburn and my six packs. There is on the work on the progress. No, not really, but but yes.
The beer, man. You got to chill out with the
Right.
beer. I'm telling you.
But yeah, so the thing is that I think that's another way that I want to treat myself more, like to escape and to like explore the world, pretty much.
Okay.
Definitely that's something on my plans on my bucket list, and it's not something that comes like all the time either. I would say YouTube or Netflix here and there, but I see
Okay.
myself like staying away from it like most of the period of that time. And same thing with like video games. Like I play Call of Duty Mobile. That's the only game actually, that chess and Monopoly.
Are
But
you still playing Call of Duty Mobile?
yes, I still do that because it's
Jeez, man.
like I do it here and there. Like sometimes when I'm just
You're missing
um,
out. Yeah, I don't think you understand how much better it is to play with the controller.
yeah, no, I told you, I mentioned you that I might get the PS5 console soon. Yeah, I don't know. But the thing is that it's just gonna collect dust if I get it, because I'm not a
Right.
player. Hey,
You're
I'm
not a
not a player.
gamer. You're not a gamer, bro. You're most definitely the player here.
But yeah, so we will see how that goes. So I think that's one way that I can treat myself, I guess. Other than that, yeah, actually, that's a really good question. Like, what do we do to like treat ourselves after a long day?
Like, do we get massages? Do we go out and, start expending extravagant amounts of money and buying stuff that, isn't necessarily useful, but we just like it. So we just buy it, like a really expensive watch or,
Mm-hmm.
really expensive cologne or something like that. Um, yeah, I mean, like it's different for other people, or it's going to be different
Definitely.
for everybody, right?
No, definitely.
Um, so
That's
yeah,
it.
I would say the simpler you make it, the better. But it's whatever your tastes are, whatever you actually enjoy.
Yeah, I think it would be different for everybody because, like you said, some people they will go to the mall and just buy something for themselves, and that will make them happy, right? Whereas for me, for example, like things don't really fulfill me, like honestly. Like if I were to go to
Experiences,
the
that's your
mall,
thing.
yes, my thing is more expensive. So, for example, if somebody gets me the most expensive shit in the world compared to like let's say, yo, let's go to vacay to like this new country, or let me, like if it's a foreign person and invites me to go with them to like India or to Asia or somewhere else, I'll be like, yes, that's what I look for in somebody. Like for
Mm.
example, you have invited me to DR, you and your mom multiple
Mm-hmm.
times, and that's something that I always look for. I'll be like, yes, when is my next time to DR? you know so those sort of things, I think those really fulfill or makes me happy experiences. So I
That
guess
that's treating yourself.
treating myself there. When it comes to
Mm-hmm.
massages, I have got massages in the past. They're relaxing, but honestly, I tell my mom to do the massage for me. She has a machine, so boom, that's it. So what would
Yeah,
you
no,
spend
I'm
like
not saying like that.
$60
Like
on
that's
that?
actually treating yourself, right? That's
Right.
like for some people, it's treating themselves, right? After like a long week of work, they can go get a massage and they can decompress, something like that. But yeah, yeah, it's an interesting topic.
Mm-hmm.
For again, it's different for everybody, so you should definitely figure out what that is if you don't already know. I would wager to say the best way you treat yourself is usually doing the like after you're done doing whatever it is throughout your day that you don't particularly like doing, but you had to do. What is that thing that you
Well,
come back to at the end of the day, right?
right. Definitely, it
And
has to be
that's
something that makes you happy and something that you enjoy time for yourself also, because sometimes you do want to escape out of like the routine. So
now an idea just popped into my head going back to the pleasuring yourself, right? So that
Okay.
could that can be something that, that's a way of treating yourself, just pleasuring yourself.
Cool.
And on one end of the spectrum, that can kind of go across with everything, right? Like anything that can become
Hmm.
addicting. So again, pleasuring yourself, so any kind of masturbation to an extreme, or maybe drugs, right? Alcohol,
Right, right, right.
weed. I mean, weed not so much, but it could become problematic. And then you start getting into the harder drugs later on.
Hmm.
Um, so again, there's a balance, because I can't just tell you, oh, if you like treating yourself with just watching porn all day and then just masturbating all day, then that's a problem, because now you're not doing anything productive at all, and you're
Right.
just literally blowing out dust at some point. So you want to
Hmm.
be careful not to overdo that. And then alcohol, right? That can start leading to alcoholism at some point if you're not careful
Comes
with
to
it.
addiction. Yeah.
Right. So, you got to be very careful. And even with food, right? Because that's how a lot
Hmm.
of people end up getting overweight. They just, they treat themselves with food, and it's not the healthy food. And then that becomes addicting. And then over time, you just overeat and you end up getting to a point where you're really unhealthy. So, balance. With everything, you're going to have to find a balance, because I can't tell you that it's right doing it one way or it's right doing it the other way. It's whatever works for
Absolutely.
you and doesn't become a detriment long term. You have to
Yeah,
find a way
absolutely.
to make sure that it's not a detriment long term.
One thing that you mentioned about, something becoming addicting, and I think
Mm.
that's the dangers of like treating yourself very often. That's why I mentioned previously when we just start that, like the me going out and, just blowing money just like that on food is every like once a month or even longer than that. So it's, with a balance, and I'm not doing it just myself, it's just with my family. And it's, a memory that I'm always going to remember, like every year it gets better. Or every, like, for example, like this whole 2020, we spent it indoors. So like nobody got to go out for their birthdays, and we just cook inside. So it's just an experience. It's a different experience, and it makes it more memorable, more valuable. Remember the the meme that I sent you earlier about why we don't print a lot of money, like more money,
Yeah, because then
because it
it's
loses.
not valuable.
Yeah, exactly. It loses its value. So if you start treating yourself very often, so for example, if you start buying the things that you like just because you want to treat yourself and you have the cash available, you're gonna become a not addicted, but like it's gonna be more frequent, and it's gonna your pockets are gonna pay the price. So
But
that
like what you're getting to there is like, it doesn't feel as rewarding anymore. Like you
mhm,
become desensitized to whatever this thing is.
exactly. So definitely choose something that you love to do, but at the same time, don't overdo it, because then
Mhm.
you're gonna start treating yourself for no reason, and you're not being as productive as you were like once were, and therefore it's not good. It's not healthy.
It's just a downward spiral, right?
Exactly.
Like, going back to like you saying you're only doing it once a month or maybe once a quarter, like treating, other people or spending money on whatever outings. Like
Hmm.
when I like to treat myself in terms of playing video games, that usually only happens maybe once a quarter or maybe once every 6 months. It has to be a very specific kind of video game and something that I can like really get a really great experience from. Like the
Right.
last game that I played that I, really
Okay.
dived deep into it, right, was
Uh-huh.
Cyberpunk 2077. Within the span of like, I think a little less than 2 weeks, I put in at least 100 hours.
Oh wow.
So that's like a lot of time. And that was during the holiday season here. So, I kind of had a little bit more time because things slowed down, not much in terms of schooling and work. So, I just took that opportunity. I found the perfect moment for me to be able to dive into a game
Hmm.
that, was a really expansive game, has a lot to it. There's a lot of experiences within the game itself, a lot of different pathways, so it makes everything really interesting. And there you
That's
go. But I only do that like within a year, anywhere from 2 to 4 times a year. So, it's very rare, which makes the experience that much more
more
valuable.
valuable.
Mm-hmm.
More valuable overall. That definitely.
Yep.
So just to conclude this section for the day, uh, treating yourself is not bad. It's definitely good because it's gonna always motivate you to do better and to keep doing the things that you're doing at the moment, right? The present. But don't overdo it because then it loses its value and you're not gonna find as much joy or as much meaning to how you felt before.
Right.
I think that we
Yeah.
can conclude that we both can agree on that.
Mhm.
And all right, so let's move on to the fitness section. So this will be your floor. How to be a good personal trainer? What have you done to be the good trainer that you are?
Sweet. So I wouldn't necessarily I'm a good trainer. I would say that I'm aspiring to be a good trainer at all times. Um, so yeah, there's a couple of things that end up coming into play. One of the biggest things is the fact that as a trainer, the field is always evolving, and you can't just kind of sit idly by and think that because you know what you know, that's going to be sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's always new information coming out about exercises, fitness overall, nutrition, different types of equipment that keeps coming out. Like, we talked about it before with the new types of machines that are coming out, where it's just like all at home workouts where the thing adjusts itself automatically. Like the weight can change automatically, so you don't have to buy anything else. You just buy this one piece of equipment that's basically all pre-programmed. It's all what is it? AI? Not AI. VI maybe,
Mm-hmm.
virtual intelligence,
Right.
or it's an artificial world or artificial thing where it kind of mimics how to be a personal trainer. Like literally, just post it against your wall. Like, what about me? I'm a personal trainer, like a live
Yeah.
person, right? So that comes into question. Like, how do you even compete with something like that? There's a lot of value there. There's a lot of
It's pretty much the future.
accessibility. Yeah, it's the future, right? That's only going to get better over time. And if I'm just stagnant and I don't even go out of my way to learn new stuff, then that thing will absolutely take me out. And, there goes my job. So, again, I would say one of the big things is always keep learning. There's always something new to learn. So you should always be constantly evolving in your knowledge. I said I was certified with kettlebell training, and that's one type of training that most people don't really know about or do, at least in the United States. So, showing people how to do that is very effective. But there's other things, right? So you can do things like Olympic lifting, powerlifting, weightlifting. You can become somebody that's more geared toward doing yoga. There's a bunch of different fields you can take up with the realm of fitness, and expand your knowledge so you're well diversified. And the more diversified you are, the more valuable you end up becoming. And
Mhm.
you balance that out with the fact that you are very knowledgeable in one specific field, or let's say you're a master. Let's say I'm a master at kettlebell training, but I'm well diversified in my knowledge in the different aspects of training, right? So being able to do some powerlifting, being able to do some Olympic lifting, etc. That makes you well rounded, and that makes you knowledgeable, and people come to you because you know your stuff. um,
Mhm.
so another thing is going back to the hard skills and the soft skills that we talked about in the past. Your ability to communicate with people, be empathetic with people, understand people, where they're coming from, or where they're trying to go, and how that exactly fits into where they are. Because a lot of about what a good trainer is, it's being somebody that can show you the path. As a trainer, it's your job to kind of just outline an idea of what they have to do in order to go from point A to point B. But at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to have to walk that path. I can't walk that for them.
Mhm.
But, a lot of the times that's most people's issue. They don't have a map. They don't know where they're going. They're navigating blind. And all I have to do is just, show them the map, show them how exactly to go from point A to point B. And, I'll walk with them along the way, make sure that they're doing everything correctly. And then boom, we get them to point B, they get to their goal. And then depending on what the plan is moving forward, we reassess, go for a new goal, or if they're satisfied and they want to finish with where they're at now, then no problem. So that's the soft skills. And then the hard skills are the technical stuff. So everything that I talked about, the different types of fitness or training aspects that you can do, you have to be really good at that. You can't be somebody that just do squats. What's a squat? Oh, well, I mean, that thing that you do where you like sit down and stand up. Can you demonstrate it? I mean, you can look up a YouTube video. what am I paying you for? I might as well just look up a YouTube video, right? So in terms of the technical skills, you got to make sure you're really good with that as well. Here's one of the things that I find with personal training. It's not just, you training people. It's a combination of you being a coach, you being a therapist, you being a friend, you being multiple things in one. And the end result is that you make people better. That's it. Or you aspire to make people better while simultaneously improving yourself. So it's always a profession that's constantly making you be better. So that's what I really enjoy about it as a whole. So you just have to be the mentality that you're constantly wanting to improve, because you're going to have to. Otherwise, you're going to fall behind, and so everybody else is going to go with the trainer that's constantly improving, constantly learning new things, constantly pushing the boundaries to make sure that they know that what they're saying is coming from experience, as opposed to them just talking out of their ass and telling you to do stuff when they haven't even tried it. Right? Like we've talked about the fasting. The only reason why we've been able to do it is because I've done it first, and then I've talked to you about it, and then I told you about, hey, you should probably supplement with this, this, and this, because that way it'll help dampen the side effects of not having any electrolytes in your body. But if I don't do it and I tell you to do it first, then what ends up happening? What if you end up dying? Then, well, it is what it is. It's not really being a good trainer. That's just me telling you to do shit. So yeah, I figured that kind of covers that.
No, definitely. I think what you mentioned about the soft skills specifically, that will definitely apply for not just personal trainer. That will be anywhere, like whatever career you are, you need the soft skills. And when it comes to like inspiring people, that's even more of those qualities that are essential if you eventually want to pick up positions of leadership within your company that you work for later on. So those are definitely good skills to have, and that wouldn't make only a good personal trainer, but it would also make a good person or good employee overall, whatever aspects of career path that you walk into, like you mentioned. But yeah, in my opinion, like if I were to hire a personal trainer, it will definitely be somebody who pushes me to my limits. Because there are times that I go to the gym and I do what I have to do, but I don't go beyond that. Like, for example,
you just do the bare minimum.
Not even the bare minimum. I do what I have to do. Like, remember what I sent you with my plan, for example, for the bench press. I had to do bench press today, and I was able to do my max reps, but then I was like, I still got a little bit more energy, and I'm pretty sure if I had like a good spotter or a good trainer to tell me like, yo, lift up next weight, I would have done it and pushed myself a little bit more. And that's something that, it's necessary.
That's another aspect of being a trainer, right? It's understanding people in such a way where like, if they're giving you your best, or that they're giving you your all,
right,
or they're leaving something on the table. Again, like a lot of what being at your best or trying to achieve whatever fitness goals you have is leaving nothing behind. You have to put it all on the table, and as a trainer, you only gain that over time with more experience, with more clients, where like you see that they're doing the exercises, and you notice by their facial features or by their body language that that was not that hard. You can probably do a little bit more, and you can be like, all right, so that seemed pretty easy. How about we push the weight a little bit more? And it's up to you, right? Because maybe they come back like, no, I feel comfortable with this. I don't want to push it. I don't want to push it too much. I want an inspection. We have to be like, okay, I mean, I'm the trainer, you're the client. And, you got to respect the client's wishes. But at the other side, you also have to be somebody that, like a parent, right? You have to be able to push them as well. Like, listen, if you really want to get to where you want to be, if you're going to just come in here and just give me the bare minimum or 70% of what you got, it's going to take you forever to get to where you want to be. So I'm here to tell you that you got to get your shit together, and we're going to have to push the limits here so that you come in the next time and now the threshold is higher. And the higher the thresholds, that's what's measuring the improvements over time. But if you come in and we're only hitting the same level every single time, your body's going to adjust and you're not going to get any more significant improvement. It's just going to be mediocre from there forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you on that. But
all right,
okay, I think you covered
that's
it.
enough because I'm just going to keep talking.
Yeah, you're repeating the same thing, not gonna lie. But anyways, let's move on to finance. And this is where I take on credit card. Um, Different credit card companies. So yesterday we talked about the credit cards, like the specific credit cards, those that you have in your wallet. Now, if you might notice on each of those cards, there's a little symbol. It either has the MasterCard symbol, the Visa, or Amex, or Discovery. Now, those are the biggest
What
four.
about American Express? Is that Amex?
That's Amex, yeah. I
Okay.
just shorted it. American Express. To be fancy, American Express. But anyways, those are the four biggest companies, credit card companies, or the biggest players around the world. And now what they are, it all comes down to a network. Network, not network. Network, like a web, like the internet. So
The
it's
network.
the network, yes. So how many places are they being accepted around the globe? Now, we're not just talking about a specific country. Like if you go somewhere else, you're not gonna find maybe a Bank of America or a Citibank or a Chase, let's say over there in Asia. I don't know if there is. If there is, then good for you. But for those that those banks or little small banks that they don't have you know what do you call franchise over there abroad, they need a way to transfer money. They need a way to wire the money and be usable. That's what a bank is for. So that's where credit cards come in. They are the middleman between the merchant and your bank. All right. So there's three players. There's you, there's your bank, and then is the credit card that you use when you're using credit card specifically. All right. So the issuer will be your local bank, whatever bank you use. So this can be Chase, Citibank, Bank of America, and blah blah blah. The list goes on. So the bank, it's that one who pretty much checks your credit score, pretty much gives you that rewards, the fees, the everything. So they are who pretty much sets the credit limit for you. What Visa is just the middleman between you and the merchant to make that transaction more viable. And now we have seen actually notice a major shift nowadays when it comes to exchanging money. When Apple Pay came by, Google Pay, now we have Venmo, Cash App, all of those. So they actually have similar job as a credit card company does. So just be the middleman between transactions, making it secure and making it more affordable. Now, two of those companies actually they issue their own cards. Sorry about that. They issue their own cards, which is American Express and Discovery. So those companies they actually have their own cards, but Visa and Mastercard they only are the middlemen. They don't.
Whoa,
They
bro!
don't.
Blowing up.
they don't. They don't issue their own cards. So they only use banks such as Citibank, Bank of America, and blah blah blah. I think I'm repeating myself. So let's cut it short. Credit card companies are just a middleman between you and the merchant that you want to pay. Now, Visa is the most worldwide accepted everywhere, and also Visa. Most of the credit cards that I know from Visa, they don't charge you like a fee if you use it abroad. So that also you have to keep in consideration. So, for example, if you go somewhere really, really isolated of the world, you might be able to find somewhere that you can use Visa. And with your credit card, you can also get some cash just for emergencies. So that also keep that in mind. Whereas Discovery and Amex, Amex is usually more related to well, back then it used to be more related to or associated more with like luxury and more money, whatever. But nowadays they're trying to reach the average Joe, like the average people like you and I, to issue the cards because they see the potential. They see that there's the markets. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, discovery is usually targeting a student. So if you're a student, you're definitely going to see a discovery ad on your browser or whatever, because they target students specifically. Visa and Mastercard, they just globally around the markets, like for everybody.
So
Amex,
one thing with Discovery, right? Because they're not only the people that provide credit cards, but they also have a banking system as well. That's all online, right?
yeah,
So like, do the other guys provide a similar system, or is it just Discovery?
it's just Discovery and American Express. So actually,
Okay.
American Express has their own like website and like site, like similar to Discovery, where you can like cash up, no cash up, like if you have a credit card and you have a lot of rewards, you can actually do it directly with them. So they're working in the hotel. I used to see this happening a lot, is that you can actually book a flight, book a hotel, book many reservations on like restaurants and stuff directly through Amex portal. So like we
Mm.
get um, it's not directly with the hotel, it's just through Amex, and they usually give you like points. They allow you to use the rewards. They give you more benefits and stuff like that. Similarly, the way that you collect your rewards from your bank. So for example, if you have Capital One or Citibank, I go and collect them directly from my bank, right? So they have that accessibility as well. So that's only for Discovery and Amex because they issue their own cards as well. Whereas Visa and MasterCard, they just the name, they just the link, the network, and they're trading really high this time. So to look into them actually, because they all of them are public companies, so you can trade on them. And now that we're going into trading, let's see what is happening throughout the markets today. So it was a really good day. Everything ran on green, if I'm not mistaken.
No, actually, I saw Apple in the morning. It started off pretty bad.
Oh yeah. Oh well, I meant like the indexes overall. But then
Yeah,
yes,
The Nasdaq dropped down pretty hard in the morning, and then I think it probably bounced back because you
yeah,
made some profits off SQs, right? So
yes, you're right. Well, ultimately, at the end of the day, at the closing bell, the SP 500 was 0.4% up, Nasdaq 0.28, the Russell 2000 1.77, and the Dow Jones 0.19. It's pretty stable, not too much wins, but something is something. That crypto continues to bounce. It's been bouncing between that 31 to 34 throughout the day, which is kind of annoying because I put some money in there. I was expecting to go to 50K at least, but we will see what happens with that. Um, we have that. GM announces additional plans for its EV ambition. The stock closed at a new all-time high. So there's a lot of competition in the EV market. We've been talking about NEO, for example. It reached its all-time high this week, and it keeps trending high, right? I haven't checked NEO
yeah,
yet.
it's still sitting above 60. So they did another offering of I think like 1.3 billion dollars worth of shares in order
Right.
to raise more capital to expand more. So it kind of brought the price down a little bit, but it kind of bounced right back. But yeah.
Very good. Absolutely. And Tesla keeps rising to the roof, making Elon the richest person in the world. Right now he's sitting over $800. Really good, really good to see that. Now to the blah blah blah. Sorry about that. Okay. Oh, flying cars. So the automobile giant boldly introduced Cadillac EV Toll air taxi today. So we might be seeing flying cars sooner or later. But this is
Yeah, all this hype with EVs, and we're not getting anything with flying cars.
yeah, no, this is where GM.
No. I'm saying, but like, I'm like all this hype with EVs. Where are the flying cars? If we're going to the future, we should have flying cars by this point, don't you think?
No, actually, I feel like they're coming. The thing is that there's a lot of controversy about air
Mm.
because there's such a thing as about air rights.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of controversy about that because how can you create a map in the air to like fly?
Well, how
We
do
want,
how do planes fly?
yeah, but it would be a little bit more like to bring it to the public, it would be a little bit difficult. Whereas
I guess.
commercial, like
I
like
guess.
planes. Go ahead.
I guess at that point, maybe we would have to have autonomous driving down. That way, the flying kind of just happens automatically, and we don't
Offers
kind
driving.
of
Yeah, yeah.
intersect and crash in the air.
There you go. Yeah, I think that's a better approach. Like, let's get autonomous driving, self-driving cars. They drive on themselves, and then we could go with the flying cars. Because I always seen this issue about like flying. It's very, very, very controversial, especially if we're trying to go with like the commercial market, like for everybody. Whereas if it's like private, I guess it's doable, but that's why Elon created that Boring Company, to create tunnels. Like he said that the future we can go on tunnels, like on the
Underground.
ground, whereas flying it will be a little more riskier. Like we cannot create tunnels on the air. I mean, it's doable, possibly, but
And you don't want to have to. There's so much space.
well, there will still need some way of an infrastructure too. If you think about it, you will definitely
You know
need.
what? Let's leave that for a topic. We can talk
Oh
about
yeah, let's talk about
what kind of infrastructure we would need for flying cars.
like, all right, yo, that's pretty much it for today. Pretty stable, pretty good day for me. I was trading against the market. I trade S triple Q, cut off from profits, and then I'm sitting here with some profits. Then I traded gold. I got in right on the perfect moment, just when it started bouncing back on like 109. Right now it's sitting on 115, if I'm not mistaken, and swing trading that for the rest of the week. And I traded Mara, that was the company that you mentioned, which is
Yeah, no, I traded that too.
correlated to the cryptocurrency mining. Also gave me some good profits, but I don't see more potential going on there because Bitcoin is kind of like back and forth and juggling a lot. So I'm gonna just put a pause on that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the day. Your camera's over, and
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. All done here. Trading went well. Was trading to slow. Bounced back nicely. Made some good profits.
Very good. Good to hear that. All right, then let me cut it off right now. Peace out, people.
Adios.
What the is we?